Ladies and gentlemen, farmers are killing their crops and selling their cattle. There are many things that farmers just simply can't overcome. They can't overcome really bad drought conditions that we see in America. They can't overcome the fact that the land is drying up, which takes away from the food resources for their cows and, their cattle. And ladies and gentlemen, if they don't have enough water for the crops, they're going to have to kill them off. You can't sell them, and crops have not been doing so well in America, especially over the last few years with the mega drought. And you also got to factor in the heat waves. The heat waves are a lot longer lasting than they've ever been in America. And that also takes its toll on both the crops and the cattle. And that's a fact. So, ladies and gentlemen, farmers are killing off their crops and selling their cows. Now, I did a video back in July on the record number of farmers that were selling their cattle in auction. So, nearly three-quarters of U.S. farmers said this year's drought is hurting their harvests with significant crop and income loss, according to a new survey by the American Farm Bureau Federation, a lobbying group that represents agricultural interests. So, this year's drought conditions are taking a harder toll than last year, as 37% of farmers said they are plowing through and killing existing crops that won't reach maturity because of dry conditions. That's a jump from 24% last year. And that was a record at 24%. Now this year is 37. So you can see it's climbing. July was the third hottest on record for the US. It ranked in the top 10 for every state in the West except for Montana, according to the National Centers for Environmental Information. The U.S. Department of Agriculture weekly weather and crop bulletin ending the week of August 6 reported rapidly intensifying drought gripped the central and southern plains and mid south, depleting topsoil moisture and significant stressing uh, rangeland pastures and various summer crops. So they're not even bothering with even allowing even part of the crop to mature. They're just ripping the crops out. They're just plowing them down. Mm-mm-mm. So they estimate that 60% of the west, south, and central plains are experiencing severe drought or higher this year. The effects of the drought will be felt for years to come, not just by farmers and ranchers, but also by consumers. Many farmers have had made devastating decisions to sell off livestock they have spent years raising and destroy orchard trees that have grown for decades. Wow. The AFBF survey that was conducted in 15 states from June 8th to July 20th in extreme drought regions from Texas to North Dakota to California, which makes up nearly half of the country's agricultural production value. In California, the state with the high fruit and nut tree crops, 50% of the farmers in the state said they had to remove trees and multi year crops due to the drought, which will affect the future revenue. And 33% of all US farmers said they had to do the same, nearly double the number from a year ago. Selling off herds, farmers in Texas were forced to sell off their cattle herds earlier than normal due to extreme drought. So, the triple temperatures and the drought condition just burnt up the grass, which the cattle feeds on. So, they made the tough decision to get rid of the cattle, to sell them off. So, farmers in the Lone Star State reported the largest reduction in herd size, down 50%, followed by New Mexico and Oregon at 43% and 41%. We haven't had this kind of movement of cows to market in a decade, since 2011, which was our last really big drought. David Anderson, a professor of agricultural economics at Texas A&M. Access to water for livestock has been a key issue for farmers and ranchers this year, with 57% reporting restrictions on water use compared to 50% of farmers last year. Key water sources, places like Lake Mead and Lake Powell, are running below 30% of their full capacity. Typically provides 5.5 million acres of land in seven western states, according to AFBF. So on Tuesday, the federal government announced that Colorado River will operate in a two-tier shortage condition. So that means if you are in the surrounding states, like in Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, you are going to be dealing with reduced usage of water because the Colorado River really looks bad. I looked at some of the shots from a NASA satellite. It really looks bad. It's right up there with Lake Mead. High inflation makes it harder for ranchers to salvage their land. The cost of diesel has fallen, but it is still high, making it significantly more expensive to truck in additional water than the years past. So the price of fertilizer for grass, that has also skyrocketed. So and apparently feed for animals have gone through the roof as well. So you can expect this is going to be less food going on the market, which means the prices, which are already too high for food, is more than likely going to go up even more. So for the consumer, it is not going to be good because the cost is going to be passed on to the consumers. Wow. So there's going to be limits in places around the U.S. for consumers where they can buy things like almonds and fruit that comes out of California. And they're saying the outlook of the volume that they normally get looks pessimistic right now in the US. So, y'all, mm, mm, mm. This is, they already said the droughts are going to get worse every single year. So, you probably will be looking at 2023 to be even worse than 2022. And, I can think back and remember when these folks were dying for 2020 to be over. It looks like these years ahead are no better. In fact, maybe even worse. Definitely when it comes down to inflation. But y'all, please tell me what you think about the farmers killing their crops and selling off their cattle in the US. Please leave your comment and subscribe Don't forget to hit on the notification bell, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace, family.